So here I am in my browser. This is Microsoft Edge. It pretty much looks the same as Google Chrome though. So we'll have the same thing. The difference between them being that on this Bing, which is Microsoft's search engine, is my built-in internet search engine. Otherwise, we have a lot of similarities. So I'm going to go kind of from left to right here as we go through things. So up here at the top, we have these two buttons over in the corner, right, which are these two arrows and this little circle wheel. These are go back and go forward buttons. So if I were to go to a separate website, I could then use these arrows to click forward and back through pages that I've previously visited or went back to visit. And then this little circle is a reload button, which just allows me to reload a page should it stop loading. Now, the next thing we have here is the address bar, and the address bar can be used both to input website URL, so www.cyberseniors.org, but it could also be used just as a search engine. So if I type in a question, or type in something random, it also just activates a search browser. So you can use it either way. The other thing that's really important to know with this bar up here is that when I'm visiting websites, it will also tell me a bit, oh, Google Chrome has finally decided to work, so we'll switch over. It'll look the same. Here we are. So here we are in Google Chrome right here. So again, we'll just go from the top here. We see we have the same options here, the arrow back and forward button and the reload page. And I can go to the site here. And it will show kind of the same feature as before, but I want to show it here. So what you'll see over here when you visit a website is really important for understanding the security of a website you're visiting. So when you're visiting a website and it's secure, you should see this little lock over here in the kind of side of the URL bar. What this tells me is this website is secure when it's locked like this. So it's really important to see it. What it will also tell me is if I click on it, it will give me information about the website I am visiting. It will tell me, one, the connection is secure again, and it can give me more information. The certificate is valid. I can go out and I can see information about this website, who it's certified by in terms of its security, and all of these different things. So it's a great way to just see a quick glance, is this website safe for me to visit? The next thing it's going to show you is cookies. So cookies are basically things that are used to track users on your website. So website might use this to understand who is visiting their website, how long they're spending on their website, where they're going on their website. I know that we use this to use Google Analytics, so we can understand basically who's coming to our website, where are they going, what services are they interested in, which helps us better our service. So that's why we have some cookies on here. But cookies are basically things that allow website to track where you're going on the website and see what your activity is on their website. They also save on your own computer. So when I was saying you want to go and delete cookies every now and then, they take up space. So your tracked data on a certain website is also saved to your computer, takes up space, and is a long time. So you can come to a website and you can decide to block certain cookies. That may, however, change how the website functions and reduce some of the functionality, because some websites require cookies to help you to provide suggestions of where you should go next or stuff like that. So that is there, and that's what cookies kind of do and are. You can also see the amount of views, and you can kind of start to get curious about certain websites and how many cookies they're using, ones that are using just a few versus one that are using 50, and get a sense of that generally. And it's kind of interesting to see, what websites you see using a lot of it. And you can also go to site settings, which allows you to do things like see what permissions a website has or has access to. So for example, if you're using a website that might make use of your camera, like you're using a video calling application through the browser, it's going to have or ask permission for your camera. If you're using, say, Google Maps, it's going to want to ask for and use your location. And at any point when that happens, when they start to use one of these permissions, it will ask you and you'll either accept it or deny it. But at any point in time on the individual website, you can go and click on that and change what it's allowed to do and what's not allowed to do. And you can reset those permissions from here. So this is a really key thing to understand and know how to click into and read in terms of your security when you're online. The other thing that's really important to understand when you're going to websites to make sure they're secure is if you see the website here, generally what browsers do these days, they kind of shrink the URL at the top. So you'll see it just says cyberseniors.org, but the reality is that the full website URL is www.cyberseniors.org, right? So if you kind of click into this a couple times, twice, you'll end up getting a fuller URL. And you always want to make sure when you're visiting a website, this is another key indicator of a website security and safety, is that it has this pre kind of writing, and it should say https:// That is a security protocol that a lot of websites have and should have. So if you ever are on a website and you click and you do this and you get the full URL up here and you don't see that https:// that is something to be kind of concerned about. That is a pretty normal security protocol that all websites should have that. So watch out for that. That being said, if you're using one of the browsers we mentioned, for the most part, if you're heading in the direction of a website that doesn't have the security protocols where the connection isn't secure, it usually stops you and says, hey, this is an unsecure website. You shouldn't proceed, go back, and you kind of have to forcefully proceed. So you should be protected by that, but in case that you're not, that is also something that you can look out for. So that is kind of everything you see on this side of the URL bar. Now, if you go over further to the right, you'll next see this little box with an arrow sticking out of it. This is a share button, and it allows you to share the link. Of course, you can just copy and paste it, but it allows you to do things like copy the link, create a QR code about it, save the page and stuff like that. So you can do all these different things from here about saving it or sharing it to different social platforms. It's not something that you really might use that often unless you're trying to quickly copy a link to send it to someone in an email or something so they can see a website. You can do it right from there. The next button we have is this little star, and this is the button you use to bookmark a page or a website. So if I wanted to bookmark our website, Cyber Seniors, on my browser so that I can go back and visit it more easily without having to Google it or type in the URL, I can just click this button and it will create a bookmark. Now, it will pop up with this pop-up, which allows me to change it. So the official website title here, Cyber Seniors Inc. So I'm just going to simplify it just to Cyber Seniors because that's easier. You can also save it to ask where you save it. So other bookmarks is an area where it kind of is hidden that you can access through clicking through a few options. But you also have your bookmarks bar, which is going to be at the very top of your screen and allows super easy access. So for the sake of example, I'm going to select bookmarks bar here as where to save it. You can also go into more and you can actually create subfolders of your bookmarks. So, you may want to save really important ones to your bookmarks bar, but sometimes I do this if I'm looking for something, say I'm doing, shopping for a new stand or something. I may create a folder and put all of the ones that I find online into a folder so that I can go through and easily access them after and I don't lose them. But when you're done, you just click done. And now what we'll see is, say I open my internet browser again, like start fresh, whatever. Now we'll see that I've added a bookmark right up here. So this is my first ever bookmark. So when I open my browser at any given time and I want to access Cyber Seniors, all I got to do is click there and it takes me straight to the website. If I said save another website, so say I go to, YouTube.com and I save this as here, but I save this in other bookmarks. And maybe I'll go to a different website. We'll just randomly go to Facebook, I guess, and I'll save this. I'll click the bookmark thing again, but this time I want to put it in a new folder. I'll go here, I'll click new folder. I don't want it to be under. Right, and then I can just, sorry, I created multiple. I can just save it there, save. And now we'll see that I have the original one. I have these folders I created, and in here we have Facebook and other bookmarks. I have the bookmarks, and then I have the new folder and all these different things, right? So we can start organizing things that way, and using bookmarks to basically be able to get around quicker on our browser. So bookmarks are a really handy tool in that sense. The other thing you'll also get when you start using bookmarks is reading lists. So reading lists are a bit different than bookmarks. Basically, it's where we can add pages that we want to come back to, but we're not actually planning on keeping around forever. I may want Cyber Seniors saved on my bookmarks tab forever, so I can always access it. But there may be something that I want to come back to. Maybe I don't want to come back to it right away, and I want to save it as to my reading list rather than saving it to a full bookmark. So I may do it that way. So you can also add things basically to a reading list that way too. So those are those options there. So that's everything that's just literally only in the URL bar that we see. The next thing you'll see is this little person icon right here. This allows you to log into an account to sync things across devices. So if I were to be logged into an account on my browser, say I add an account, it's going to ask me obviously to choose a Google account to log into to use. I'm just going to use an example email I have here. So I use any Google account I have. I can then turn on sync, which is that thing that allows me to sync all of my bookmarks and passwords and history to other devices. So say then I got Chrome on my phone and I logged into this account too. All of the bookmarks I put up here on my computer will also be visible on my phone, right? So that's why you might do it. So we'll say, yeah, let's turn that on. And now we're synced across platforms. This also allows me to customize my browser a bit. So I can come in here, and here we are in this browser. We can come and we can, do things like change the color profile, and switch between users too. So if you have multiple people, using one browser and you don't want to your things to be overlapping, you can go and switch back and forth between users as well. So something that you can do here on there. The next thing is these three dots, and these three dots, wherever you see them, doesn't matter if they're on the internet browser, in your email, or otherwise. When you see three dots in a row, that always going to mean more options, and it's always going to bring down some sort of pop-up menu or additional list of things that you can do. And so here here's our options to do things like create a new tab. Now, when we're in here, we see that this is one tab open, and there's a plus button that allows me to open more tabs, and then I can click the X to exit them. But I can also do that from here. This will also mean the shortcuts for being able to access these different features. So instead of going to click this or clicking here, it's telling me that I can click Command T on my keyboard to create a new tab, and I can just do it that way too. So it's a bit of an educational tool as well. We can create new windows, which is allowing me to have multiple windows open at once. And then we can also from here access and turn on a new incognito window, which pops up and it's all dark and mysterious, and that's kind of the point of it. An incognito window allows you to browse somewhat more privately on the internet. So when you are going to a website will not be able to see your previous cookies on that website and understand that you're a return user or track that. So no information that you say had saved website will be there, and it won't save any information from you using it. And this is just on your end. So basically, your activity could still be visible by the website, but on your end, whatever you do when you're on an incognito will not save to your browser history. So when you go back to a regular window, you won't get, like, if you go to Google and you type something really embarrassing in an incognito window, and then you went to Google on your regular one, and how it always like pops up with previous searches, that won't happen. It doesn't save information. It doesn't store cookies when you're browsing in incognito mode. So if you need a little privacy, or you're, say, Googling something somewhat embarrassing, or say you're accessing content that you just would rather not be in your browser history, in the case that someone else does go onto your device and is using it and may, stumble upon or see that browsing history, that is when an incognito window comes in handy. So it just allows you an extra layer of privacy. And basically all browsers do have this option. So again, great for Googling embarrassing medical symptoms or anything that there might be, or great for just, accessing content that you wouldn't rather otherwise, want to be in your general search history, in case your friend or nephew or niece or whatever, anyone accesses your computer and is using it. That's when you use an incognito browser, and it's great for that. Or if you're using a public computer, and you want to do stuff, but you want to make sure that none of the things that you're doing, say you're logging into an account or something, get saved. You don't have to worry about going back and deleting the history before you stop using that computer. Also a great way to use it if you're using like a public library computer or something like that. All right, so that's those options there. The next thing we have is our history. So in the case that you do need to go back and look at your history or delete history, if you hover over this button, you'll see kind of a quick glance at your most recent history. So things that were recently closed, you were recently doing. But if you click on history up here, it will open your kind of official full transcript of your user history, and you can see it as far back as it exists. And say you just want to go in here and look at it, you can do that. You can also select one or multiple of these websites, and you can delete just individual websites from your browser history. Or you can go into clear browsing data, and this will allow you to delete your browsing history. You have options about how you do this. You can do basic or advanced. Basic allows you to select if you want to clear browser history, cookies, and other site data, cached images and files. You can do all three or select. You can also select the time range that happens within, just for the last hour, just for the last 24 hours, or all time. If we get into advanced, this gets into other things too, things like saved passwords and site settings and stuff like that. So if I wanted to delete all of this, I could just select all of it. I'm going to say for the last hour, I'll click clear data, and it will clear that data out for me and actually shut down that tab for me because of that. All right, so back to Chrome here. All right, I'm gonna go back to this one. The pink is a bit much for me. Okay, we're here. All right, so back into this. So that's on the history. See, now I don't really have a history on here because I cleared it all. The next thing is our downloads. So if I downloaded anything from the internet, this is where it would be found. It could also be found on my computer in my downloads folder. Let's say I did go ahead and say we download Chrome again, just for the example of it. I can go into my downloads now, and I can see that that's there. Past downloads, current downloads, all of it will be there. And you can delete downloads from here too. So again, another thing you might want to clear out because it might be taking up space. Next, we have, once again, access to our bookmark. So we can bookmark this page, bookmark all the tabs, show my bookmarks bar, whatever, bookmark manager, any of that kind of stuff is all here. So we can just kind of re-access it from here as well as from up here. Then we have options, visual options to zoom in or out on pages. So if we need to zoom in or out on pages, we can use that here. We can print pages if we'd like to. We can cast pages, which is basically to cast your screen onto other devices. You may not actually use that this often. Find, I find to be a really helpful tool. So you can either click find here or click the equivalent shortcut on your keyboard. For here, it's Command F. And basically this allows me to search a page. So say I'm on an article and I saw a certain quote from something and I'm just wanting to see what it said. I can use the shortcut, and what it does is it allows me, whether I access from here or here, it pulls up this little search bar here at the top of my screen, and then basically I can use it to search within the page, and I can find anytime, say I'm looking for news here about Iran, I can search that and I can use it to anytime this word pops up on the screen that I'm looking at. So helpful tool. I really use it a lot when I'm like reading articles and I'm just trying to get to maybe I'm trying to skim and trying to find the parts where I'm looking for certain information. Can be really helpful. And then we have more tools, so we can do things like create a shortcut. We can create clear browsing data quickly and easily, extensions and all these sorts of things. One thing here that I'll point out is to create a shortcut is actually a really handy tool. I can create a shortcut and it actually creates a shortcut that I can pull into like my desktop. So now if I go to my desktop or anything like that, and I can pull it into my bar, we'll just see I've just created a shortcut that now I can access right from my launch bar here, and it automatically opens up the website. So even to that extent, I can save websites. So a tool there. Then we get into editing, is just using things like we can use cut, copy, and paste from here. The last kind of section we have here is settings. And settings is where you can access all the information about your kind of usage and of the browser. So you in Google, you can see what accounts you're in, right? You can go into your syncing services and all that. You can go into any of your autofill settings. So if you have saved passwords, payment methods, or addresses into here when you're typing things in, you can go in and delete or edit these. So all of that can be done here. We can go into security and privacy, which again allows us to do things like clear our browsing data, cookies, and other data site, and see different site settings. So say we go into site settings, we can see like location and see what websites have access to that information when we're using them. Right now it's nothing, but we would be able to see that there. We can then also go into appearance and change how things look. We can change the font size on our screen to make it maybe more accessible. We can change things like the theme and change the color of it if we want. All sorts of things we can do here about the appearance of our browser. We can go to search engine, and this allows us to change our default search engine. Because we're in Chrome here, our default search engine that opens, we go to our homepage and that our bar up here uses is Google, but we could change it to anything we want. For example, we could change it to DuckDuckGo, which is a web search engine that really prioritizes privacy. So it's a great one if that's something you're considering. And you'll see now that if I go into here and type in something, it now searches, rather than searching Google, it searches DuckDuckGo for those things. We can change any of that. We can also change the default browser. So from here, if I want to, and I want to make Chrome my new computer's default browser, I can click this and basically it will open my computer settings to allow me to do that. You can change the power settings. Does this app open up on startup when I first start my computer or not? And stuff like that, and what opens up when I first open it. And then lastly, we get into extensions, which is the one thing that Google Chrome is really known for, is its access to extensions. And this will take us to the extension shop. And there's a lot of extensions here, things like ad blockers. You can get access to Chrome apps. The one main one that I always think of are like coupon ones. There's also stuff like Grammarly, which we can use to find extensions here. So all sorts of things we can download. The other way we can download extensions is actually just by searching them. So say I search, I'm aware of a extension I want the Grammarly extension. I can just use my computer to search it here. We should be able to find it in our search. It was coming up my search before, but should be available here. Here's the Grammarly extension. I can add this. And this is basically something that will pop up here now once it gets downloaded. And it allows me to like check my grammar. So it will read the page I'm on and it will give me grammar suggestions. I can also download extensions like Honey, which when I'm online shopping, allow me to search the web for coupons for a certain specific thing I'm buying, and it will do it automatically, and then I can just apply them if they pop up. So all these sorts of things we can add as what are called extensions. This one's just loading the time of speaking until it's fully done. Great. And now this is one of the extensions I added. So once we start using extensions on here, we'll see this little puzzle piece pop up. This is a little symbol they use for extensions. And we can see Grammarly I can sign into an account or sign up, and I can start using it basically once I create an account. And it starts reading my page, and say I'm writing an email, it checks my grammar. So those are extensions. So all those are the tools we have to be able to use our browser better. And again, if you do any questions like going forward or anything comes up, you can always call us at Cyber Seniors at 844-217-3057 to get one-on-one help. Or you can visit us online at www.cyberseniors.org.